I recently had the opportunity to spend time with Hilton CEO and lifetime Arlingtonian Chris Nassetta, as well as relative newcomer Steve Presley, CEO of Nestlé USA. It's important to us during this celebration of the Arlington community to share the perspectives, experiences, and vision of our corporate neighbors. The ecosystem of Arlington is a complex one, and the community engagement of our business community is an integral part of the success that we see as a whole. One way that Nestlé USA has stepped up, for example, is their charitable investment in childcare subsidies for low-income Arlington families who struggle to maintain employment without access to consistent, affordable childcare. Nestlé's contribution is part of our Shared Prosperity Partnership aimed at working on the issues that most often lead to the displacement of our low-income residents. Childcare, along with affordable housing and workforce development pathways, are essential to our viability as a diverse community. When I sat down via Zoom with Steve Presley, he shared Nestlé's experience in Arlington since they relocated here in 2018, and the engagement in this community they now call home. Thank you so much, Steve. I really appreciate you joining us. Can you tell me a little bit about your path to CEO of the largest food and beverage company in America?
Well, certainly. Yeah, I'm glad. Thanks for having me, but glad to share a little bit. I'm a long-term Nestle guy. I've been here almost 25 years, and I started my journey with Nestle in Suffolk, Virginia. So a long time ago, 23, 24 years ago, I started in Southern Virginia anyway, in one of our factories, a coffee factory there, and have worked my way through the company and done a variety of roles, all from finance to operations to procurement to general management, and then on to CEO eventually. So definitely a homegrown talent inside of Nestle, and have done a lot. But I think as I've worked through all those opportunities and kind of moved around the country to where they go, it's always focused on really go where the problems are, go where the challenges are. And if you bring the solutions to the challenges, you'll continue to press the organization. And that's what I always did in my career. It's the advice I usually give all of our young talent is, look, go to the biggest problems, go where the challenges are. And that's the fastest way you'll get through the organization. And that's how I got here.
That's awesome. Well, Nestle is a relatively new neighbor for us here in Arlington. You personally are one of our neighbors also. Can you tell me a little bit about life in Arlington for you and what you enjoy about this community?
Yeah, so we've been here just over 2 years, I guess, now. And I think, as most people know, we relocated our headquarters from the Los Angeles area. And as the executive that led the project to kind of choose the location and move, you take the responsibility very seriously to choose a community that ultimately is a great community for all of the Nestle families that decided to make the journey across country and join you on the new in the new location. And for us, the relocation was really a catalyst. And as we started to settle on Arlington, it was really about the quality of life that our families would have, the quality of the schools, the quality, if you wanted to live in a city environment or the suburb environment, it had everything. It had excellent public transportation. And it was just a community that we felt like we could lift our families from the West Coast and move them to the East Coast and settle them in, and they'd adjust really well. And what we've seen, what we've really been happy with the most is that our families have enjoyed it. It's been a great place for them to bring their families, raise their kids, go to school. And so we feel really good about the decision to get here in Arlington.
Is there anything that surprised you about Arlington that's different than you thought it was from your time in Southern Virginia?
So I'd say the biggest thing that surprised me going from Southern Virginia to Northern Virginia. Southern Virginia was a great community. We loved living there. Really nice military-heavy community being in the Chesapeake area. But it was a great place. Our son was born there, and we really enjoyed our time there. But as we've now settled in Northern Virginia, I think just surprised a little bit how much of a big city it feels, right? It has all the great feel of a big city and all the benefits you look for in a major metropolitan area that I knew there'd be some, but I didn't realize it would be quite as strong as it is. And so it's been great. It's actually been a really nice personal transition for us as well.
How has your company embraced Arlington, and how do you feel Arlington has embraced your company?
Yeah, from day one, Arlington's been a great partner in our transition. And I think, and we try to be that great partner back in all the communities we serve, and including Arlington. And when you look at it from the early days working with the Arlington development team and the just Arlington local officials, they were right there, able to really jump in and help us bring whatever challenges we had. This was a huge move for us, right? It's a very large company, and relocating can bring significant risk in the business as you kind of disrupt everyone's lives. And the Arlington community really was strong in terms of just leaning in and helping us understand what our problems were, what our needs were, and making sure we got those sorted through really quickly that benefited both. And then our side of that has been, look, we always aspire to be a strong community partner in every community we operate in, including Arlington. I think we've done that in our first 2 years, but we'll continue to do more of that. We really think big businesses in Nestle, we try to be a force for good, and that includes the communities we operate in.
Well, speaking of being a good neighbor, before the pandemic, Nestle made a sizable contribution to the Community Foundation to improve access to quality, affordable childcare for low-income families in this community. Can you talk about the company values that led you to make this investment and what it means to you to know that you're making a difference on this important issue?
Yeah, look, we're really proud to be part of the work with the Community Foundation. I think the bringing childcare to low-income families and helping bring that is something we're really proud of, and we like to continue to partner there. But it's really, whether it's partnering in that space or it's partnering with Food Challenge Children's with our new No Kid Hungry partnership, or any of the community programs that we work with to actually try to serve the community needs better. And it's not just a local thing for us. Actually, on a national level, if you look, we've donated millions of meals, almost 5 million bottles of water, whatever the need is through this crisis, or even before the crisis. We want to be there to help. And as I said before, we really want to be a force for good in the communities and the nation where we serve. This is our largest market as a company. And so we want to make sure we have a large presence. We have a very large employee base, almost 40,000 employees in the US, in so many different communities. And we want to try to make sure we're a great partner in all those communities. So we really lean in on the community support effort.
That's great. Thank you so much. I really very much appreciate your support. It's been really tremendous to have this partnership with Nestle. So many companies have faced difficult times during this pandemic, and I'm sure that you've had several issues to overcome at Nestle. Can you tell me how your company or your job is different today than it was before the pandemic?
The way I describe it for our team is it's this seismic shift in our industry that really kind of overnight changed the way people eat and drink. And so our job is to react to that. But first and foremost, through the crisis, our number one mission is keeping our employees safe. And because of the stay-at-home orders and all the things, a huge portion of the essential workers have actually been Nestle families going to work every day in our factories and our distribution centers and our frontline sales team in stocking the stores and our customers to make sure we can bring food and beverage to the customers. And so what we've really done is focused on how do we keep them safe in that environment, whether it's increased sanitation or temperature and health screenings as they come into the facilities, face masks, social distancing, all the steps that I think we should have been doing all along and we're doing now, but have really done a nice job to make sure we achieve that number one priority of keeping our employees safe. And what makes me proud every day is that our people have showed up every day through the crisis. We've run our factories 24/7 through this as the demand has really shifted at home, and they've done an incredible job of serving their consumers in the US. And I don't think any of us had a playbook that we open up and we go, oh, okay, go to global pandemic page 7 and it'll tell us what to do, right? It's around building organizations that have the agility to tackle whatever the challenge is that's put in front of it. And this is the challenge today. And it's a big one. And it caused us to really change, working from home overnight for all of our corporate employees, running factories, keeping our employees safe, all those things that COVID required us to instantly shift. But the biggest change is, this really creates a revolution in food and beverage. And it's this at-home revolution. As people have been staying at home, they've been baking more with their kids. They've been making, those coffee cocktails that they're serving from the cafes at home and sharing them online. And that revolution has been really large. It's been strong for our business, but in the end, it will change consumer behaviors and patterns for a period of time. Nobody knows how long this will go. Nobody knows, kind of where we return to some form of normal or whatever that means from the past. But what we do know is a lot of these patterns will stick and a lot of those behaviors will permanently change. And what we know is that our ability to work through this crisis, adapt to those changes, and be ready for which ones stick in the future is what our team's been able to do through this. And I'm really proud of the organization for the agility they've shown, actually been able to continue to run this business, continue to serve our consumers and customers really well through the crisis.
So thank you. At today's event, we're honoring the frontline human service workers of Arlington for their ability to step up and their willingness to walk into the fear and really push through and have the best possible outcome for as many of our neighbors as we can. And I'm wondering what you would say to the people in our community who have put themselves on the line in that way.
Yeah, first I'd say thank you and just humbled and honored to be part of recognition for these people in terms of, you know, every doctor, every nurse, every policeman, every fireman, every grocery store clerk, every food, you know, I tell my industry, even my competitors, look, I'm really proud of our industry, all the frontline workers that have come together to actually serve the community more than themselves. Everyone was scared in the early phases of this, and everyone was kind of thinking about how best to manage this for your own situation or your own family. And these frontline workers every day went in and did their job because the country needed them to. And they did it incredibly well. So anything we can do to help support those workers across all of those, you know, I mentioned some of them, but there's so many more in essential workers across all the industries that I'm so proud of. And even with that, I'm really proud of the Nestlé essential workers. Our factories, our distribution centers, and our frontline salespeople have been right there with them from day one, out in the marketplace every day. And I couldn't be more proud of our team and certainly of all the frontline workers that have risen to the occasion to help the country get through this.
So as we move through this crisis, what is your hope for Arlington?
You know, for me, for Arlington, what I really hope is we come out of this stronger and better than we were as we went into it. I think Arlington has some really good momentum. The community we're in down in Roslyn for our headquarters is really experiencing some significant growth. And I want to see it come out and be stronger and better than it was even before and continue those development missions, because we will return to some form of normal at some point. And as we continue to build, to think about how we make our communities better, how we make the services better that serve those communities. And whether it's big businesses like Nestlé or small businesses, I think we can all come to this stronger together once we get through this. So that's really what I hope happens for Arlington, and not just for Arlington, frankly, for the country. I hope we come out of this a stronger country than we went into it. Look, we're honored to have our partnership with the Community Foundation and all the great work you guys do. We're honored to be considered in this conversation around great, really strong community partners. We want to continue to do that. And we really thanks for the time and look forward to our future partnerships.
Thank you. Thanks so much for your time, Steve. I really appreciate it. Hope we can meet in person one day.
Thank you.
Being the CEO of a company that is so integral to our food supply chain during a global pandemic is more than a full-time job. We really appreciate Steve taking the time to share his thoughts with us and for Nestlé's ongoing and growing partnership.